All right, so you're trying to figure out how to stop overthinking so much, stop letting your thoughts run you, be more present, stop being so distracted by everything. Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you exactly how to make that happen. My name is Bryce. Welcome to Mindful Gains. And if you want more tips and suggestions on how to dive deeper into your personal development, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave me a comment letting me know how overthinking has affected you in your life. All right, let's get into it. You ever feel like you're just stuck on this mental hamster wheel that just keeps going and going and going because you might be wrapped up in your thoughts about something, just worried about something that's about to happen, something that's happened in the past. Somebody might have said something to you and you wish that you would have said this to them. I've been there and I know how your thinking can consume you. And I don't mean just like normal overthinking. I'm talking about extreme overthinking. Like, you ever gotten to that point where it's like you can't eat, you can't sleep, you don't want to talk to nobody, although you probably should talk to somebody, but your mind is just constantly creating these different scenarios. Your thinking has kind of got you wrapped around its fingers, if that makes any sense. It's taking you to places that you don't really want to be. And before you know it, you're on that hamster wheel of just obsessive overthinking. Well, that's called rumination. Rumination is a bit more extreme than just your normal overthinking. I'm going to share a couple of tips on how to stop letting your thoughts run you so much and how to maybe kind of just slow down your mind a little bit so that you're not so wrapped up in that overthinking, because that overthinking can be a mother. Let's establish what the definition of rumination is. Now, Google says rumination is a deep or considered thought about something. Like I said, like in that example, when somebody said something to you and that's already come and gone, you might be driving home and you're like, man, I should have said this. Why didn't I say that to them? And before you know it, you've already created this scenario in your head where they said this to you, you said this back to them, they said, and it's like your mind is just going. That stuff is serious. That stuff can have a big effect on our body if we're not aware that it's happening. Okay. And it's called a rumination. I'm going to say it again. Like I said, it's extreme overthinking. One of the tips that has helped me, be able to get away from that. I still find myself doing it on occasion, but I'm aware of it now. So one of the tips that helped me is to be able to find somebody that you can talk to. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. It's probably best to find a therapist to help you with this, because rumination stems from we're trying to control something that we can't really control. And your mind is trying to work to figure out the pieces to make you feel whole in a way. And what I mean by feeling whole is like making it feel like you have a sense of control of whatever situation you may be overthinking. And that may be stemming from past stuff you've dealt with. You might have had something happen to you in the past where you didn't have a strong hold on something, or you didn't have enough control. And now your mind is trying to make sure you don't experience that again. So you're trying to think and trying to put all the pieces together to make sure that you're not in that situation again. It's like a protective measure. One of the tips that I'm going to share with you is just finding somebody that you can talk to. Now, I don't mean just finding anybody. Okay. You got to be real intentional with who you seek out to maybe share this type of stuff that you might be going through with. Like I said, you can get you a therapist, but if you're not trying to go that route, I would suggest finding a friend or a family member that you really trust, and make sure that this individual is somebody who is a good listener. You don't want to be sharing certain issues you might be stuck on or in that mental loop about. You don't want to just be sharing that with anybody, because people have a tendency to project their opinions onto you. All right. I shared that in another video. I'll be sure to go ahead and put that up in the card up here. Before you know it, you might have opened up and started sharing something to somebody. Now you're feeling worse because of maybe what they're telling you you should do about the situation. Oh, no, you need to do this. Oh, no, if I was you, I'd be doing that. Like, you're like, okay, well, ultimately, I just wanted you to listen. I just needed to talk. So I would say be very mindful of who you're opening up to. That's why I say, the best route is probably to find a professional. Like I said, if you're not trying to do that, just find somebody that you trust that is a good listener. You can bounce off of them what you're going through. Because a lot of the time, what we're experiencing, we have the answer inside of us. Sometimes you got to get it out and talk to somebody to be able to kind of discover it. That's been my experience. You might be going through something and you end up talking to the right person. And before you know it, you're like, damn, I feel a lot better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I appreciate you. You were very helpful in helping me find out what I needed to figure out. But that's been very helpful for me to be able to speak to somebody that I trust, and maybe whose wisdom and insight I value. So I would say be very mindful of who you seek out to talk about your problems with. These are just tips that work for me that I just share just because I know that other people are going through this type of stuff. That's tip number one. Okay, now tip number two to be able to kind of deal with rumination is get you one of these. Just a little notepad, something and get a few of them too. You can have one with you, keep one in the car, keep one by the bed, get your thoughts out on paper. A lot of us, we've heard of journaling and stuff like that. I'm not really consistent with journaling as I probably should be. But these little nifty notepads, I carry these around all the time. I'm always jotting stuff down. It's almost like you're freeing up your mind. Because a lot of the time when we're overthinking, it's because we're just bogged down and bombarded with so much stuff that we have to take care of. Not to mention the worry aspect. You might be worried about something. You have a grocery list you got to go get after work. You got to get your kids. You got to do laundry. You got to do all types of stuff. So your mind is just cluttered. It's like jumbled up. You got a bunch of stuff going on in there. Getting a little notepad or something and taking the time to write out what you might be going through, or write out what you got to do, right? Write out what you have to do for the day. When I get up, I usually just jot down some things that I have to accomplish throughout that day. And that way it kind of almost frees up my mental hard space. It frees it up so it's not all up in there, just, this is just buzzing. I would say definitely incorporate getting your thoughts out on paper. Okay. It's very helpful. And like I said, it'll free up your mental hard space. Now, if you're finding any value in this video so far, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. All right. Now let's get back into it. This last tip, it requires a certain level of like openness and willingness to try something new. Okay. And that's meditation, or just kind of sitting still for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just sitting with your thoughts and becoming aware of your thoughts. The more you can practice this, the more you can become more in tune with yourself. This is going to be very helpful. But a lot of people are, they don't want to meditate, or I can't turn my mind off and all this type of stuff. That's not what it's for. You're not trying to turn your mind off. You can't turn your mind off. Your mind is going to continue to produce thoughts, but it's up to us to recognize, the quality of our thoughts. You know what I mean? We can play a part in that, how we take care of ourselves. All right. So I would say just take some time to just sit with yourself. All right. I meditate. I sit for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day. I usually do it in the morning. All right. And I really just focus on my breath. I have a guided meditation that I'll be sure to leave the link for in the description. And that'll help anybody who is interested or curious as to what meditation even is. And what that does is it'll start to help you cultivate like mental resilience, emotional resilience. Okay. So that we're not always getting knocked over and knocked down by things that are coming our way, and especially by our thinking, because we're not our thoughts, but a lot of us believe that we are. Don't believe everything you think. All right. But a lot of us do. And we believe everything we think, which takes us away from who we are. You know what I mean? Where we need to be. You're off in another planet thinking about, XYZ. Like I said earlier in the video, you off thinking about, I should have said this to him. Or why didn't I give him a piece of my mind? Why didn't I just let him walk off and not say nothing? Like, you be then drained yourself full of your you're energyless now because you put so much time and effort into all this overthinking. All right. So that's what rumination is. It's that obsessive overthinking about things. And I just wanted to share some tips to be able to kind of counteract that. And like I said, it's tough to just counteract it on your own. Professional help, don't be, there's nothing to be ashamed of or anything like that. It can help us get to the root of why we may be so worried about things. You might be worried about something that happened to you when you was a kid, and it might be, you might be reminded of a certain situation here now, currently. So I would highly suggest finding somebody to talk to, getting your thoughts out on paper, to free up some of that space in there so you're not so mentally jumbled up. Take time to practice stillness. Take time to learn to sit with your thoughts and not necessarily analyze them, but to learn to be comfortable with them and to learn that you're not your thoughts, okay? Your thoughts gonna happen, they're gonna come. So just let them things go by. And that takes practice and it takes help. And we might not be able to do it on our own, all right? But yeah, I just want to go ahead and make this quick video. I said, I'm Bryce, Mindful Gains. And if you got any value from this video, again, I would love it if you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, just so you guys know when I drop more content like this. All right, I'm out.